I want to welcome everyone to the breakout session, Communicating with Your Customer in an Online World. Dan Fellows and Elizabeth Vagnoni of Fellows Group will lead this session. As a reminder to all participants, today's complete sessions are being recorded. We plan to upload these for an on-demand viewing in the future. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat box. I'll find an opportunity in a natural break of conversation to be able to make sure those guys are seeing them and they can answer those at that point in time. Fellows Group is a full-service marketing agency that provides a comprehensive range of marketing, advertising, and communication services. Partners Dan Fellows, MBA, and Elizabeth Vagnoni leverage their combined 70 years of business and advertising experience to provide a strategic approach to matching marketing plans with business goals. The Fellows Group builds a team to create, implement, and track the specific goals of your marketing plan. The Fellows Group helps you think forward so you don't get left behind. Please welcome Dan Fellows and Elizabeth Vagnoni.
All right. Thank you, Lori, so much for that introduction.
You're welcome.
And for the opportunity to participate in the Quad County Business Summit. We did a couple of webinars for the Central Virginia group on doing business in an online environment, which was really precipitated by the COVID requirements to go virtual, which we really enjoyed and have had the opportunity to meet some pretty interesting and fun people along the way. So what we get to do here really is talk more specifically about communication. And communicating with your customer in an online world is extremely important, both on the front end, which is finding a customer, and throughout the customer cycle, and once you have a customer, keeping that customer. So why is it important to manage your communication? Think about your marketing budget. 80% of your marketing budget is typically dedicated to finding a new customer, selling a new product to a customer. So that customer becomes a very important component of your business and the viability of your business. But keep in mind that investment in the customer doesn't end there. The customer journey doesn't end with the sale. It's an ongoing relationship that you're looking to manage. Here's a cool map, and Elizabeth is better at talking about this than I am, of what is a customer journey and what are the goals for it. So Elizabeth, if you want to just really quickly touch on some of the highlights here. I think these slides will be made available so you all can grab access to this if you are so inclined.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to think about on this slide. I mean, I think the biggest part of it whenever you're planning a campaign is trying to figure out what your goals are. And obviously they do follow a cycle. You have to help your customers discover who you are. You have to help your customers be able to do research on why your product is better or different. And then obviously you want them to complete the purchase, but after that you want to keep their loyalty and hopefully spread your name through word of mouth, which is probably the least expensive and the highest value of a form of advertising. So just a couple of things on this slide. You can kind of follow your goals, but see what the pain points might be and what the ideal feeling would be that you would want a customer to feel, and then what kind of actions you would want them to take. And we've just done a few bullet points on the side where it tells you, just saying that with advertising online, these days, due to data, you can get so much information about your customers. It's just insane. We just did a email marketing campaign, and you can actually click on the email address of the person that clicked on your number to call or that clicked on some link in your email. It's a good idea to pay attention to these numbers because the numbers kind of tell you what things are working and what's not. And even though you believe something is powerful, your customers might be telling you something different. And then, of course, with this information, you can be prepared to shift or change, to move your dollars around so that things make more sense.
Great, thanks. So what are the most effective customer communication channels? There are a lot of them on the internet, in an online environment. And we look at what is your store, what is your front end in an online world, and that's your website. First impressions that customers get from visiting your website are extremely important. You got to make sure your website is functional, which is to say that all the links and pages work. You don't get errors when you click on something, that the information is current and accurate. A website should do a number of things: convince customers to purchase a product from you, which is often the goal. Answer any questions they might have about your product or about you or your company. Through the website, you can do a number of things. You can have a pop-up that provides an opportunity for a live chat. We encourage everybody that we work with to have a frequently asked questions page, because it will address a lot of things that people would have in mind and will save you time. But we'll talk a little bit later that it also provides some SEO enhancement. Search engine optimization performance is better if you have an active frequently asked question page. You should always have your email address, telephone number, probably physical address. Just some of the minimal things that you should have on a website. The other thing that you should make sure, this is particularly important if you have a retail store where you expect people to come, or a business office where you expect people to come see you, is that you claim your business in the Google My Business section. So if you go online and someone searches and they find your company, on the right-hand column in a Google search, there's usually a box with a map and shows your company, and you've got opportunities to plug information in about your company, your store hours, etc. Make sure you fill all that out. Make sure that it's accurate and current, because in addition to being valid information, important information for people looking for you, again, it helps with your search engine optimization, helps Google help people find you. And the same is for Bing and other search engines, and for Yelp, reviews, etc. It's important to have that information accurate and current. The frequently asked questions section on a website. These provide quick answer resources for customers. It is for both existing customers and prospective customers. Typically, your topics are going to be driven by customers. When you're talking to people about your product or your service, they'll ask you questions, and not everybody has a unique question. So anticipate that if you hear the same question 2 or 3 times, it might be a good idea to plug that into your frequently asked question page on your website and know that you've got it covered. Again, it is another opportunity to improve the search performance of your website. So, the goal always for your website is to come up on the first page of any search, ideally without having to pay for an ad. So in an organic search environment, everything you can do to enhance the search optimization of your website are gonna benefit you. Second, email marketing. Elizabeth just mentioned we're real fans of email marketing. In some cases, it can be free or very low cost. It gives you the opportunity to communicate and connect directly with your customers and prospective customers. The companies use emails to attract new customers, stay in touch with existing customers, use it as a vehicle for promoting specials, promoting new products. Number of different things you can do in an email marketing environment. Newsletters would typically be classified as email. You get a new customer, what's the first thing you should do? Send them an email, thank them for buying your product or service, welcoming them to your customer base, and look forward to their feedback. There are special occasions, either within your company Or if you're really on top of it and you know of special events or occasions that are important and pertinent to that customer, drop them a note. They really appreciate being communicated with. And thank you emails. We're going to talk a little bit later about the value of thank you emails, and everybody loves to get thank you for doing business with me. It is just one of those things that from a marketing perspective, it's hard to put a dollar value on it, but it pays dividends ongoing. Social media best practice. There's a lot we can talk about here, but really we're focusing on communication, and there's really a couple of different things to look at. If you have a website page, we encourage you to have, if you're in the type of business that LinkedIn is a vehicle for you, that would be a professional service business, for example. A LinkedIn page, a company page on LinkedIn would be a great thing to have. Keep it current, keep it active. Make sure you link to it from your website. Again, for almost any product or service, have a business page on Facebook. If you don't have a website, then you must have a Facebook business page, because there's a lot going on Facebook. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, there are a lot of social media platforms out there. Facebook probably one of the biggest, and that we would encourage you to be on. Elizabeth, anything you would add to that?
I think obviously everybody has a different buyer persona, so you can probably figure out who follows best. But Facebook is offering a lot of data information by putting a pixel on your website. You can tell where your business is coming from. YouTube obviously is great if you're in the kind of business that you want to do some sort of videos or demonstrations, things like that. So, you can kind of evaluate each one, how important it is for your business. But obviously, as Dan said, Facebook is pretty much a key.
Text messaging. It's interesting. This is a growing segment of the marketing communication environment. I now realize, I've noticed in the last couple of months that I get text messages, ads on a regular basis. Sometimes it's really annoying. Sometimes it's like, oh, wow, I'm glad to have learned that. Reality is there's 5+ billion people that have mobile phones. It's an opportunity to reach people anywhere and everywhere. Text messaging as an outlet is relatively low cost. Messages are delivered instantaneously, and it's used by businesses of any size, and in not just selling, it's also keeping up with and communicating. I get text messages from my doctor to remind me that I have a doctor's appointment. So, and it is a mechanism that, depending on who your customer is, if you're selling the millennials, text messaging is how they live. I have a number of those, so I know. It is a great tool and a great opportunity. The challenge is not to be intrusive. So a little bit like email, you've got to have some levels of permission to communicate, so you're not making enemies instead of friends. But pay attention to that, because text messaging is a great tool. So customer service, customer relationship management, the customer journey does not end with the sale, which we've talked about in forever. And this is not new to social media. Customer service has always been a key component to keeping a customer happy and engaged and continuing to buy. So you continue that relationship, that customer relationship management, through email, through social media, through text messaging. In the process, encourage reviews, encourage testimonials and referrals, because that's really, I think Elizabeth mentioned in the customer journey, the goal is to get the customer and then have that customer become the ambassador for your product, because customer referrals and testimonials will drive more consistent and long-term business than really any other marketing vehicle. Some strategies for online communication. Who are your customers? Who would you like to expand your sales to? Elizabeth, you want to run through this one real quick?
Sure. To find out more about who your customers are and who you want to begin to sell to, you can do things like sending a survey to your existing customers and ask them about their satisfaction with your product or your services. This way you can document what they like and what they don't like and maybe make some changes based on that. You can also group your customers based on demographics and their product interests or anything else that is relevant to them. And then you can learn what types of information you want to share with them online or within your email marketing campaign.
Monitor and manage reviews. Reviews are, and we'll talk about this in just a little bit, the upside, downside of reviews. Encouraging reviews are very helpful, again, in optimizing your website and your presence on the internet for search. There are a variety of places for reviews: Google, Yelp, City Pages, etc. We always encourage our customers to allow reviews, even if you have negative reviews. When you get a review, interact with that post review quickly. The shelf life of information, real-time live information on the internet is very short. So it's not something you want to have sit on the shelf for a week before you get to it. Monitor it. When you see a review, thank them if it's a good one. Address the problems if it's a bad one. Be prepared for negative reviews. Sometimes you get negative reviews for no valid reason at all. Sometimes people on the internet are just jerks. And you have to anticipate you're going to get that. You can address that a number of ways. You can delete it, you can ignore it, or you can let your customers step on it with positive reviews. Again, active reviews help with your SEO. How do you improve communication? Respond to unhappy customers. Quite often, miscommunication is the cause for unhappy customers. So when you provide the right information, answer the question quickly and honestly, they appreciate it, and more often than not, they're going to become happy customers. Again, reply in a very timely manner. Don't let these things sit there. Create the opportunity for two-way communication, either in an online chat format or forum, or have an aside via text message, or give them an email communication chain that you can get to, or we still have telephones. Open the door to a phone call. And
Sometimes
go ahead.
I was just going to say, sometimes it's just as simple as if you did get an unhappy review or something, if you just say, please encourage the customer to call you directly, that goes a long way.
Hey, Dan.
Yes.
We have a question from Bridget. And she asked, if your web domain doesn't offer SMS, can you recommend an add-on tool for text messaging? If you want to answer that later, or finish your thought.
Yeah, we can answer that later.
Okay, make a note of that, Elizabeth.
Yep.
Okay, good. A lot of stuff here, and I know that we're getting close. Tools, things that are important. Product descriptions should be, they add value. The content complements your SEO efforts, so they should be accurate. They should use language that is used by people searching for what you do. Quite often we find that clients have beautiful websites created by very talented designers, but nobody can find them because thought wasn't put into what words are used to find my product. And I didn't put those words anywhere on my website, which means they're not going to be found. Ads on social media platforms can be very inexpensive, or you can spend a lot of money. It really depends on what your goals are. where you advertise, what kind of content you use to advertise, and what budget you should spend is a function of your growth goals and your expansion goals. It's kind of the same thing. If you write a blog, which we encourage you to write a blog, you keep up with it. The challenge with blogs is it is work, and it should be done on a regular basis. It does a lot of good things for you in terms of communicating about your products and your company, and it also helps with your search engine. Encourage user-generated content. Permit them to add their own stuff. If you're running a Facebook campaign, encourage them to post their own experience with your product on Facebook. Encourage them to go to any of the review platforms and talk about their experience with your product. User-generated content is probably more valuable in the long run than what you're putting it out there, because it's a quote unbiased third party, and people will add a lot of weight to that. E-commerce, Elizabeth, you want to step on this one?
Sure. Live chat. Lots of people are talking while they're trying to solve a problem about a purchase that they want to make while they're at work. They can't talk on the phone, so they can do two things at once with live chat. So a lot of people really like having that available. Email, obviously, you can email always for support or for a question, but it just takes a little bit longer to get a return answer back. And phone support, obviously, provides real-time solutions. I think, all of these have to be looked at as options that your business can manage financially, because obviously live chat, you have to have somebody who's manning it. Phone support, you have to have somebody who's manning it in a certain window of time. Email, obviously you can answer anytime. I think the other thing on live chat is you kind of have to be careful, because sometimes people will have live chat, but it's not really live chat. It's just chat. And then when you put in your question, somebody will get back to you within a couple of hours. You could have emailed for that. So I think it really just depends on, your business and who your buyers are and, what kinds of things you're selling.
Okay. E-commerce communication. Elizabeth, you want to run through this really quickly?
Okay.
We're getting short on time.
Okay. So e-commerce obviously is a little different than people who have professional services websites. So you've got to effectively communicate with somebody quickly, consistently, and make sure that you build confidence as your website. Once they've purchased from you, that's when it's really important, because you want to make sure that you develop this loyal following that Dan has talked about, because repeat customers are large keys to your business. So again, think of what kind of post-sales communication you would want. Will your product be delivered? Again, a good place for text messages to come into play. How do I use my product? That might be an email form. How do I get my product prepared? Again, a list, an email. How do I buy accessories or consumables for my product? An opportunity for you to upsell and add on. So again, sort of thinking about your sales and how can you plan to be ahead of your customer.
Okay. This is your slide, Elizabeth. I'll let you keep going because you got to roll it.
Okay, so saying thank you. Thank you is huge. And there's a couple of different ways. A lot of times people like free stuff. Free stuff is not good unless it's kind of useful, so you have to think about that. A lot of times you can just do just because gestures. It doesn't have to be a thing. It could be a % off. It's your birthday. I know you've all probably had these kinds of things where people ask you for your birthday and they send you a card and say happy birthday. But it's nice. You get something. Sometimes people will wait until it's their birthday to actually be able to go and use that discount. Same for holidays and a follow-up on repeat purchases. Sometimes if you buy something, you get 10% off your next purchase, for example. Or with gifts, sometimes it's a special offer, sometimes it's a coupon, a lot of times it can be a free sample. Sometimes when you purchase things and you are about to check out, people will offer, if it's a retail of cosmetics, for example, they'll offer you 4 or 5 free samples that you can pick in hopes that you'll like it and buy it again. Or even handwritten thank you notes, depending on how big your business really is. I think people are always surprised when they get something that someone has actually taken the time to write. Just any kind of a simple thank you that rewards current customers, gives you the opportunity for somebody to say, wow, that was great customer service. I highly recommend you doing business with them. So again, rewards or referral programs, we all know about those, the airlines, American Express, etc., membership miles, any kind of frequent buyer program, or you get a discount if you refer somebody, recognition, shout outs and spotlights, publicly recognizing a customer for their support, always a good thing on Facebook. Find the customers who are actively promoting your brand online and thank them. You can do a customer of the month style blog post. You can do some sort of a shout out that they wouldn't know about on Twitter or Facebook. You can tag them, or if they have a business that is not a conflict with yours, you can personalize it and kind of promote, what they do. Video responses, videos obviously are a way to thank people or to kind of preserve an aspect of an in-person encounter. Little videos that you could put up on your Facebook page or as part of a blog. But in summary, for any business, the most important measure, again, is a satisfied customer base.
So real quick, we're about out of time. Some tools that we like, that we use to do some of the things we've talked about. For surveys, SurveyMonkey is very readily available out there and recognized, and they're fairly dynamic. You can run really tiny, simple surveys to really complicated surveys. So look at that. Analytics, Google Analytics. If you have a website, activate your Google Analytics. They're free. They tell you a lot of information about the comings and goings in your website. All the social media platforms that you would use, that your customers would access, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc., have analytics as well. Some really scary, interesting stuff that they keep track of that's valuable to you. So find an analytics tracking tool that you like, or a company that does that. If you do have a online retail store, shopping cart management is critical. We always recommend Jilt, which is a abandoned cart tracking tool that also provides an email marketing piece, so that you can identify carts that may not have been transactions completed, so it's an abandoned cart. Statistics show that up to 38% of abandoned carts, if followed up on, are recovered and a sale is made. So that's well worth the investment, which is relatively inexpensive. Email management, we've talked a lot about email. MailChimp is a well-recognized and known email management tool. There's a certain level that's free. And then for bigger lists you can use, it costs just a little bit of money. Campaign Monitor is a tool that we use and that we like. As an agency, we can manage a number of clients under the same platform, which is beneficial and helpful for us from really just keeping things organized and tracking. But again, it gives us the information we need to put out quality emails, see how they're performing, and report to our clients what's working and what's not. So in summary, and I know we blasted through this really quickly, and please get the slide deck when it's made available for you. But for any business, the most important aspect of your company is a satisfied customer. Your customer base is what buys your product and what pays your bills. So take care of that customer you invested a lot of time and money in getting, and encourage them to create new customers for you. So thanks so much for listening. And I don't know if we have time for questions, but if there are some out there,
I
let us
say,
know.
hey, you just stay on until they kick us out. Why not?
Okay.
Right?
All right. Fair enough. So there was one question about an SMS
I
plugin, Elizabeth.
answered it in the
Oh, you
chat.
did. Oh, good for you.
And it's everybody, yeah.
I've unmuted anybody who would like, if you guys want to unmute, or if you want to throw another question up in the box, they're on it, watching what's coming up.
Can I close the slideshow?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stop sharing if you would like. You're driving the truck here.
Okay.
I thought that was very helpful. Thank you very much. I use text messages. I've used it for a long time. I was in healthcare sales before, and it's worked really well. Once I've talked to somebody, to shoot them a copy of my card, because I know they're going to probably not remember who I am if I don't make that connection. That's worked really well for me.
Well, good. So you're ahead of the curve. What business are you in?
I own Reliable Rides here in Palmyra, Virginia. So it's a passenger service, so.
Okay. And you have regular customers, regular passengers?
Oh, yes, sir. Word of mouth advertising has been very good to me. And it's really growing through that, which I'm very proud of. So
That's awesome. Good for you.
That's great.
I was snapping pictures of all your slides. So.
Oh, good.
All right. They're yelling for us to come back to the other room now.
Okay.
Thank you.
And thank you guys both for all your help. Great presentation. A lot of good
Thank you so much.
Thank
Scott,
you.
thanks for your
See you back
feedback.
in the other room.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.